Written by Dr. Yasama Ayavefe.
Solar thermal energy. The thermal solar market in Europe, or in other words the newly installed capacity each year, declined by an average of 8.7% over the 2008 to 2013 period. The new installed capacity, which was 28 in Europe, reached 2.14 gigawatts in 2013, total cumulative capacity of 30.2 gigawatts, down 11.8% compared to 2012. 21 TWh of thermal solar energy is produced annually. Only Germany has an installed capacity of 11.9 gigawatts. In 2013, Belgium had a solar installed capacity of 310 megawatts, with 41.3 megawatts newly installed, a decrease of 5% compared to 2012. We see an improvement in these rates as we reach the 2020s. Because investments in solar energy systems are increasing day by day. While the solar water heater market is at a standstill, mass installations are doing pretty well. In general, whether in Belgium or Europe, the solar sector is struggling to reduce installation costs and has to contend with less involvement by public authorities, which are more focused on other sectors. Based on solar energy systems, renewable energy systems have been applied in different areas. Let's look at these in more detail. Geothermal energy. Geothermal energy uses natural heat emitted from aquifers in the ground to provide a sustainable heating system for buildings, homes, businesses, etc. If this geothermal energy could be a source of heat, it would also make it possible to generate electricity using turbines. About 20 countries, mainly in North America and Asia, produce geothermal electricity. In Europe, Italy is the best student in its class in this field. The total energy, heat and electricity, from geothermal energy worldwide would represent 167 TWh, slightly less than half for electricity generation. As for the thermal component, the hot water from the ground is used to feed the closed-loop heating system. It is an energy source that does not depend on climatic hazards, but requires a favorable geological potential. Water is extracted from here by pumping it at a temperature of 72 degrees Celsius to a depth of 2,400 meters. However, investment is important. This means that the profitability of such an infrastructure must be optimal geologically. This is not the case everywhere. However, the financing issue remains sensitive, with production units that can reach 35 million euros. Geothermal energy can also benefit from water located at a lower depth, 10 to 400 meters below the Earth's surface. This means an equally lower temperature below 30 degrees Celsius. This process is used for heating or air conditioning using a heat pump that raises the temperature of the extracted water. It also finds application in the agriculture and horticulture sector, heating and ventilation in greenhouses. Hydraulic. Hydropower uses the power of the current flowing from a power plant to turn a turbine, which drives an electric generator that injects electricity into the grid. Unlike wind and solar, hydroelectric power is relatively independent of weather conditions. Depending on the season, the flows recorded at power stations are very different. While little is said about this type of energy in Europe, its use is less recent than wind and solar, but still accounts for 16% of total energy. Thus, it is proving to be important on a world scale. Tidal power stations. To date, there are several tidal power stations, one in Reims in France, another in Annapolis in Canada, and a third in South Korea. A second tidal power plant was commissioned in South Korea in 2015, and there are other projects in particular for Russia, England, Scotland, Portugal, Spain, and Scandinavia. The European Commission wants to take an inventory of the sector in Europe for 2016 and publish targets to improve it. The disadvantages of this type of energy are still very high production costs, and to this must be added the difficulties of connection to the network. Biomass. Biomass concerns all organic materials that can produce energy after combustion or any other transformation process. Therefore, it can be obtained in all forms of wood, logs, pellets, etc., and derivatives. But it also targets the processing of waste from the agri-food industry and household waste. Indeed, biogas is obtained through the fermentation of organic wastes, and its combustion produces heat as well as electricity through cogeneration. While wind and solar power are regularly featured in the media, it is the lesser-known biomass sector that constitutes the most important renewable energy source for electricity, heat or fuel. The main reason explaining the importance of biomass on a global scale is that a significant part of the planet still uses wood for heating or cooking. Biomass, including organic waste, provided energy for 68% of renewable energy consumption. Most of this bioenergy, 47.8%, comes from burning or processing wood. Biomass provided 96% of renewable heat consumption and 38% of renewable electricity generation. The biomass sector includes three subsectors: wood energy, biogas, and biofuels.
Written by Dr. Yasama Ayavefe.